Hi friends, this is Miss Deanna at the Bell Road branch of the Newburgh-Chandler Public Library. And we're here to have some adventures in art. Today is all about shapes. And one of the things I've discovered about shapes is they're usually easier to recognize than they are to draw. So we're going to work on drawing shapes today a little bit. First of all, let's just double check that we know our shapes. Would you say these shapes with me? Triangle, square, circle, rectangle, diamond, and heart. Now we have lots of other shapes around us too. Like for instance, I have down here my stop sign, which has 8 sides and 8 corners, and it's called an octagon. And we're even going to learn how to draw that today. So one of the things you can do is you just have to remember that shapes are all about lines and corners, or some people use a real fancy word called vertices. But lines and corners. So every triangle has 3 corners and 3 lines. And one of the ways you can practice that is just in the air. 1, 2, 3. And then connect them. 1, 2, 3. But you can also use things around your house to make a drawing board. So you can use salt, or you can use breadcrumbs, or I'm going to use cornmeal. And you just pour it into a plate. You want something that has the consistency of sand. You could use sand. And you get it into a plate or a cookie tray or a pie plate, anything that doesn't have holes in the bottom and has sides around the edge. And then I have my drawing board. So remember, we were doing a triangle. So we do 1, 2, 3 corners, and then we connect them. Now the nice thing about working with this cornmeal is that if I make a mistake, I can erase it. And then when I'm ready, I can go over to my board. 1, 2, 3, and then I connect them. Now the fun thing about triangles, friends, is it doesn't matter anything about the sides, the length, or even where they're at. So I can do 1, 2, 3 way over here and connect them, and I still have a triangle. All right, let's look at another one. Let's do square and rectangle. Now square and rectangle are pretty close. They both have 4 corners, but rectangle is a little bit different. Rectangle has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. So let's practice. 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as they're even, I've got a square. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a square. And then if I want to make a rectangle, I just stretch them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rectangle. Whoops. My lines are a little bit crooked. It looks like I need to practice some more in my cornmeal. All right, now let's try something a little bit more fun. Let's try a hexagon. A hexagon has 6 sides. So I'm going to need 6 points. So get my cornmeal ready. And I'm going to make points like if I were going to make a square. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the side, I add 1, 2 more. And now I've made a hexagon. So, start a new piece of paper here. Remember the square? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I add 2 more. And I know, friends, that you can do this. All right, are you ready for the really challenging one? Octagon. Let's do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 rectangles. So remember, rectangles are like a square, but we stretch them out so they have 2 long sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do it again, but this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 plus 4 is, that's right, 8 corners and 8 sides. What do you think? I could use a little practice, but you get the idea. So drawing shapes is not hard if just remember it's all about lines and corners. All right, and now I want you to look around your room. You're going to see that shapes are everywhere. I can look at my table here and I can see that I have a rectangle, but I have little squares on the corner. I can look back here and I can see I have a clock, which is a circle. I can look down here and I can see I have my hat, which is a triangle. Do you like my hat? It has 3 corners. And it reminds me of a very old song that my mother taught me. And it's called, My Hat, It Has 3 Corners. My hat, it has 3 corners. 3 corners has my hat. And had it not 3 corners, it would not be my hat. Now, think this way. My hat, it has 3 corners. 3 corners has my hat. And had it not 3 corners, it would not be my hat. Now we're going to take away all the words and just do the motions. Ready? It has, and had it not, it would not be. Now the best way to sing that song is to start at the beginning and take away 1 word at a time. So you would do hat, it has, and then just add or take away a word each time. It's a lot of fun, but very confusing. So that's my hat. Let me take a minute to look in our art box, because I think our art box tells a story. One of the things that's fun once you learn how to draw shapes is that you can tell stories with those shapes. So I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to tell you the shape or the story of a square. A square over there, he's so lonely. So the triangle came along and the triangle said, well, I'll keep you warm on top. And then 3 rectangles came along and they said, well, I'll help you see the world. And then another square rectangle. He came and he said, well, I will help you with circles to keep warm on the inside. And pretty soon, what do we have, friends? We have a house. And so some people came to live in the house. And the square wasn't lonely anymore. Now, what do you think of our chimney here? A rectangle's nice, but a better shape would be something, and this is the word you're going to want to remember, because you can impress people. If you put any 4 dots together in any place and you connect them, so any shape that has 4 sides, no matter what the corners look like, it's called a quadrilateral. So I'm going to change my chimney into a quadrilateral. My next story is about a half-circle duck. Have you heard of a half-circle duck? Well, to make a half-circle duck, all you need is a half circle and some triangles. Two half circles. A triangle for his beak. And a triangle for his wing. And 2 triangles for his feet. Now, did you know that half-circle ducks don't like to swim? What? No, they don't. So what's he going to do? Well, good thing our half-circle duck has a half-circle boat. So he can get on the water and sail away. These are just 2 stories that I made up with shapes, and I bet you could come up with a lot of really good stories with shapes. I want to introduce our artist today. Our artist is a man called Henri Matisse, and we have lots of really wonderful books about Matisse in our library. Mr. Matisse started out life as a lawyer, and then he got very sick, and he was in the hospital bed, and his mother brought him some paints, and he learned how to paint, and he became a famous artist. Later in his life, he became very sick again, and he couldn't get out of bed. He was so sick. And his hospital walls were white and boring. So he said to the nurse, "Bring me my fishing pole." And she did. And he attached a brush to the end of his fishing pole so he could draw pictures on the white walls. And my friend Alan is going to show you. This is the artist Matisse. And he is drawing on the wall with a fishing pole because that's the best he can do to reach it. So after a while, he said, "Well, this is nice, but I'd like to make some pictures with paper." And one of the first things he did was he cut out a paper bird. And he said to the nurse, "Would you please put this paper bird over that spot on the wall, because I can't stand it." And then he started just cutting all kinds of shape out of paper. And my friend Alan is going to show you another picture. Now he's in his wheelchair, but look at all that paper all over the floor. And he just kept cutting paper and cutting paper and cutting paper. And pretty soon, his walls were just covered with all kinds of beautiful shapes. Now, Henri didn't just cut squares and triangles. He cut all kinds of crazy shapes in all kinds of beautiful colors. And friends, this is a great way for us to practice cutting with scissors. And you can be an artist just like our friend Matisse. So in my art box, I have taken some paper. And I want you to take your paper and draw crazy lines like this. And then take your scissors. And that's what I'm missing. But we're going to take our scissors, and remember, when you're cutting, you're going to cut away from yourself, and you move the paper and you don't move the scissors. One of the things that he noticed was when he cut out a shape, he had a leftover shape in the paper. And so instead of just using the shape he cut out, he used both shapes. And he could make more art doing that. So I'm going to clear off my table here so you can see all kinds of crazy shapes. And they don't have to be a square or a rectangle or a diamond. And you can do this at home, and you can fill your art box with crazy shapes. And you can put them all together. And you can put them together on the table, and you can play around with them until you decide that it's what you like. Or, with a parent's permission, you can put them on your wall. Or, if you have an old picture frame, you can put them inside your picture frame. And you can experiment with all different kinds of colors and patterns. And you can put them together and make artwork that's beautiful, just like our friend Henri Matisse. 2 times he was sick, and 2 times he discovered that painting helped him feel better. And cutting out paper and making artwork helped him feel better. And so maybe if you're not feeling so good about something, or you're unhappy, you can explore art, and maybe it will help you feel better also. Another artist I just have to mention very quickly is a woman named Joni Erickson Tada. Now, Joni Erickson Tada lost the ability to use her arms. And so she was very, very sad. But she learned to put a pencil or a paintbrush into her mouth. And she used her mouth to draw pictures. So again, another example of someone who wasn't feeling very happy, and they used art to make them feel better. Well, friends, I think we have done all of the shapes. If we look around, we didn't practice circles, and we didn't practice diamonds, but I do have a heart. And I can show you very quickly how to make a heart, because I think that's important. A heart, all it is 2 circles and a triangle, and you just put it all together. So, from my heart to yours, I hope you will experiment with shapes and colors in art this week, and I hope you will enjoy it, and I hope it will make you happy. And until I see you again, we wave goodbye like this. We wave goodbye like this. We clap our hands and stomp our feet. We wave goodbye like this. Goodbye, friends.